Hey, this is Subspace Transmissions. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Cam.
Cam, we just watched the episode 7 of Star Trek Discovery. This is magic to make the sanest man go mad.
Very Joker-like.
Oh, with the allusions to Batman, of course.
Mm-hmm.
What was that illusion exactly?
Well, I mean, there was a few. Just the title alone is like a reference to the Killing Joke story that Alan Moore wrote. But also, there's a point where Harry Mudd walks into Lorca's. Was it his ready room or the bridge? I don't remember which. But he says something along the lines of like, "Where do you get these wonderful toys?"
From his man cave.
Yes.
I like how I actually referred to it as his man cave, which is pretty good in Star Trek. But Cam, what we got here is a bit of a party, and Star Trek has a long history of pretty dull parties, let's be honest.
Right.
But let's talk about some of the party highlights we've seen throughout all of Star Trek. This one that we saw in the Discovery, would this be a party that you'd be at home at? You're into big toga parties and keggers, I know, that's obvious. But what about this rap battle going on mixed with some 1960s Motown music? It
was an interesting combination. Would I be at home? No. But I'm not a big party guy, despite what you may think, just looking at me. But I will say this looked like possibly the best Star Trek party, although, you know, what are some of the ones that stand out to you from the past that maybe are competitors?
The first one that popped into my mind was the Bachelorette party from You're Cordially Invited, where we got to see Nog do that pretty badass dance, and it ended with a fight between Jadzia and Worf, you know?
Right.
Who's the stick in the mud in that marriage? Pretty easy to figure out. That's popped into my head. What was one that maybe you figured, hey, oh yeah, that's a Star Trek party, right?
Well, there's one that popped in my head after we recorded the episode, actually, and that is that in the original series episode, Dagger of the Mind, there is reference made to the Enterprise Christmas party, where there was some sort of event between Kirk and I think Noel was the character's name.
It's very on the nose.
Yes.
Christmas, Noel.
Good point. Yeah. But so, you know, things were apparently going on the original crew Christmas party events.
What about the next phase? We have the wake for one, Geordie LaForge and Ro Laren. Look, Riker's on the trombone. Need you say anything more?
You know, Geordie has to be dead before the party can be any good.
Is that what we're being conditioned to believe now?
He's a killjoy, let's be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
That to me was probably the funnest next-gen party, especially when you have a series where... What do? They go to, like, community theater hour.
Yeah.
They have a lot of speeches about anthropology.
Poetry readings.
Yeah. Ode to Spots was one of the big highlights. We even see in Schisms that Riker literally falls asleep at a lot of these next-gen parties. I think... Okay, can we discuss this on the podcast this week? But I know 10 Forward, there's a lot of feelings of reverence towards it among the Star Trek community.
Mm-hmm.
You and I both agree that Quarks looks like a way more happening place than 10 Forward, which there's no like kind of spirit or atmosphere in 10 Forward at all. It's just like that hum, that drone of the Enterprise D.
Right.
There's like no one ever in there.
Yeah.
What do you really do in 10 Forward?
You sit there quietly and talk about your day.
With, you know, either Deanna Troi or with Guinan, and it's just working out a lot of, like, personal issues.
Yeah.
Quarks, you're throwing money, you're playing Domjot, you're doing Dabo, you're drinking Kanar,
You're in the holosuites.
Oh, those holosuites, man. You know, I would rather be at Quarks any day of the week versus 10 Forward.
Mm-hmm.
If you have parties like this on the Discovery, I can understand it. What did the Enterprise, the NX-01 really have, though, that's comparable?
Movie night. And did they have anything else? Nothing is jumping to mind.
No,
the movie night looked terrible.
Yeah, they keep shushing people.
Yeah, and talking over it.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, why would you want to do that? What's the next closest thing they have on the NX-01? Like, I can't think of anything else that they did that would be fun there on that ship.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, you would see they would have fun like when they would go to Risa. But I don't recall a lot on the actual ship other than like Vulcan neuropressure after hours.
Did Archer get like that polo, that water polo pool installed somewhere on the ship? I'd hope so.
Well, he did, but it was like his shower. It started like lifting him up into the ceiling, so he gave up on it. And Voyager, you have like that French bar that looks terrible to hang out in.
Yeah.
I will say like the beach party kind of setting looked more promising. To me that was, and I liked that it was different than what the other series had done for their hangouts. I'm not against the Voyager beach party.
I could totally wear like a Bermuda shirt to that. Like I'd be down there. The Doctor had a lot of opera recitals.
Yeah.
Would you be going to those?
Oh yeah, I'd be loving them.
So what I'm getting at, though, Kim, is that I think a lot of fans might have issues with this Discovery Party. They're like, oh no, there's drinking, people are making out. How dare they? This is a children's show. I'm just like, guys, get over it. I mean, like, Star Trek is the most boring kinds of parties. The most fun they probably had is Way to Eden when they were rocking out with the space hippies.
Yeah, or like in Charlie X, where like Uhura's singing in the break room and about Spock.
Yeah. The next closest thing they had after that with the original crew is when Gorkon and General Chang came over in the Undiscovered Country for the most uncomfortable dinner party ever at that point. So, look, whatever problems you might have with the Discovery Party, I would much rather be there than anything else we've seen in, like, Next Generation especially.
Here's a question. Did this party feel very JJ Trek to you?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
It really did. Like, any comparisons to what we've seen prior in this Kelvinverse, or in the Kelvinverse versus what we're seeing here in this
we saw in the 2009 Star Trek film, there's like the bar that Kirk goes in and he sees Uhura for the first time.
Yeah.
Like it felt...
And Cupcake. Don't forget about Cupcake.
It felt like a very contemporary kind of party scene. And that's what this felt like to me, especially the music choice.
Yeah. What do you make of the music choice,
the
though?
Bee Gees remix?
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't hate it, but I also question whether that's an enduring song that will be played at parties like, I don't know, like 200 years from now?
Well, just what kind of music do they play at parties that we go to, Cam?
They just play Sabotage on a loop.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and that Rihanna song. What was it called?
That tells you how popular that Rihanna song is.
I was going to say Umbrella, but that's the one people know.
Yeah.
Not the Beyond one is the one I'm thinking of. But I mean...
Like, I don't think they're going to be playing, like when... we go to like a party or whatever, we're playing kind of contemporary music. We're not playing music that's from like the 1800s.
No. I mean, Star Trek traditionally has shown that music does not come far in between now and the future. Like, they are often flashing back to, it seems, the old-timey jazz greats. And you know what? If we're going to be like paying homage to the great jazz greats who, be honest at home, how many of you are listening to right now? No one.
Coltrane, man, come on.
Look, I can respect historically their importance, but it's not like this is something that's on the tip of the tongue of all music fans out there, and so this feels as likely to me as that.
Yeah, that was the one kind of element that took me out of this party.
Yeah,
that and the beer pong.
Right.
But hey, I'm glad they're still doing beer pong in the 23rd century.
I also thought it was really obnoxious when Ash Tyler walked by in the shirt that said "Sun's out, guns out."
Hey, he was stealing that from your wardrobe.
No.
Anyway. Oh yeah, I'm down for a disco party. Let's have more disco parties going forward.
Yeah, I like this. It had like a youthful feel to it.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that, when you have a crew of a lot of characters who feel younger, that they would party like this.
It's just, Star Trek's always been so puritanical when it comes to sex. I don't care if, the crew, look, it's going to happen. You're in these high stress situations. It's gonna happen, so let it be.
Do you think
like the Beatles? They're still listening to the Beatles, or at least Paul Stamets' uncle is in a Beatles cover band.
That's very true. I mean, the Beatles strike me as a more believable band that would be remembered 200 years from now than whoever sang this remix of the "Staying Alive."
Although, does this have a Star Trek connection, Cam?
Well, possibly. This music, I believe, was played on the trailer for The Big Hit, the Mark Wahlberg action comedy, which Avery Brooks co-starred in.
There you go.
So, you know how like they often, a lot of journalists said maybe sabotage was an in-joke in the 2009 film because William Shatner could not pronounce the word sabotage in the original series? Maybe this is that sort of connection which the creators do not know about, but fans can kind of latch onto.
Okay.
Who knows?
I dig.
Who knows? Maybe I'm just starting a false rumor.
Okay, guys, but we've got our podcast going this week in which we do a full-out review of Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad. We dive deep into it. We've got a special guest joining us, and we have a lot of fun talking about this Harry Mudd character and whether he kind of fits into this and this kind of looping storytelling conceit. We've seen it a lot before in Star Trek, and how well does this do that? And I think we also talk a lot about how this is our first diversion episode. It's not all lockstep with this Klingon war arc that we've been following. And I don't know, we have some differing thoughts, especially with our guest, about how well this particular episode works. So look for that, and also go to Subspace on our podcast. That we're at facebook.com/subspacepod, and get more from us there. More content, blogs, audio commentaries, videos like this. It'll be fun.